Have you ever met a woman who walks into a room and, without saying a word, everyone seems to notice her? It's not always because she's the most beautiful, the most stylish, or even the loudest person there. Yet somehow people lean in, pay attention, and feel drawn toward her. On the other hand, maybe you've also known women who try so hard, dressing up, saying the right things, smiling at everyone, and yet they go almost unnoticed. Why is that? Here's the surprising part. It's not about looks, money, or status. It's something much deeper, something happening on the inside. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed that real magnetism has less to do with what we show on the surface and everything to do with what's happening in the psyche. In other words, when you understand yourself on a deeper level, your desires, your fears, even the parts of you that you tend to hide, you naturally begin to radiate a kind of energy that people can feel. That's why in this video, we're not going to talk about beauty hacks or quick tricks to get attention. Instead, we're diving into the secret side of attraction that Jung believed made certain women unforgettable. And if you stay until the end, you'll see that becoming the woman everyone wants isn't about becoming someone else. It's about finally becoming yourself. If this already sparks your curiosity, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because this channel is all about exploring Jung's wisdom and uncovering the truths that make life and love more meaningful. From the time we're young, society teaches women a very specific formula for being wanted. Be pretty, be charming, be agreeable, and above all, be perfect. Magazines, movies, even social media all whisper the same message. If you look right and act right, you'll be admired. But here's the catch. Carl Jung would tell you that this is just the persona, the mask we wear to fit into the world. The persona is useful. It helps us navigate social situations, but it's not the full truth of who we are. And when we rely only on that mask, something strange happens. People may like us, but they don't feel deeply connected to us. The attraction feels shallow, temporary, almost fragile. Have you ever noticed that when someone is trying too hard, you can feel it? It doesn't matter if they're perfectly put together. There's something missing. That missing piece is authenticity. Because real magnetism doesn't come from performance. It comes from wholeness. Jung believed that what truly draws others in is not perfection, but integration. It's when a woman stops chasing approval and instead embodies all parts of herself, the light and the shadow, the soft and the strong, that she becomes magnetic in a way no surface trick can ever replicate. And here's the exciting part. You don't have to wait to be someone else or to reach some impossible standard. You already carry this magnetism within you. It's just a matter of uncovering it. So in this video, we're going to explore 6 powerful shifts rooted in Jung's psychology that can transform the way you show up in the world and make you the kind of woman people can't help but be drawn to. If that resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe, because the deeper we go into Jung's work, the more you'll start to see just how powerful self-understanding really is. Carl Jung believed that one of the most powerful forces inside us is something most of us try to hide: the shadow. The shadow is the part of ourselves we'd rather not admit exists. It holds our anger, our insecurities, our jealousy, our desires, even the sides of us we were told were too much or not enough. And here's the problem. Many women spend their lives trying to bury the shadow. They want to be seen as good, kind, sweet, acceptable. They try to polish away anything that might make them look messy, emotional, or imperfect. But in doing so, they also bury their real power. Because here's the secret. Wholeness, not perfection, is what makes someone deeply attractive. Think about it. Imagine a woman who hides her assertiveness because she's afraid of being called bossy. She holds back in meetings, smiles politely, and goes along with everything, even when she disagrees. What happens? People overlook her. They don't take her seriously. She blends into the background. Now imagine that same woman deciding to embrace the side of her that speaks up. She begins to voice her opinions, set boundaries, and let her confidence show. Suddenly, she commands respect. She's not invisible anymore. People notice her because she's showing up as her whole self, not just the edited version. That's the magnetism of the shadow. When we embrace the parts of ourselves we once tried to hide, people feel the difference. We become fuller, realer, more alive. So, how do you start owning your shadow? Try journaling about the parts of yourself you've always been ashamed of. Ask yourself, what qualities do I judge in other people? What sides of me do I try to hide? You can also explore shadow work through therapy, mindfulness, or simply by practicing honesty with yourself. The goal isn't to get rid of the shadow, it's to integrate it. Because when you stop hiding, you stop apologizing for existing. And that shift makes you magnetic in a way that's undeniable. If this resonates so far, don't forget to subscribe, because embracing your shadow is just one of the many ways Jung shows us how to unlock the kind of presence people are drawn to without even knowing why. Jung believed that every person carries both feminine and masculine energy inside of them. He called these inner archetypes the anima, the feminine within, and the animus, the masculine within. Now here's where it gets fascinating. A woman who becomes magnetic isn't one who leans only on her softness or only on her strength. She's one who learns to balance both. She can nurture and she can lead. She can listen deeply and she can speak firmly. She can be receptive and open, but also decisive and bold. That balance creates harmony, and people feel it immediately. Without that balance, women often fall into extremes. Some overplease, they become so focused on being nurturing and agreeable that they lose their own voice. Others swing the opposite way, becoming overly rigid or dominating, shutting off their gentleness for fear of being seen as weak. In both cases, something feels off. Think of a woman who can listen with patience and empathy, her feminine energy, but also stand strong in her decisions, her masculine energy. That combination makes people trust her. She feels grounded, capable, and real. People don't just like her. They respect and admire her. The truth is, most of us lean more naturally to one side. Maybe you're too quick to silence yourself, or maybe you have trouble softening and letting others in. The practice is to notice where you feel imbalanced. Ask yourself, am I quiet when I should be speaking? Am I rigid when I could allow more flow? The more you practice bringing these energies together, the more magnetic you become. Because people aren't just drawn to beauty or charm. They're drawn to wholeness. And wholeness means embracing both sides of your nature. If you're finding this valuable, make sure you subscribe right now, because in the next shift, we're going even deeper into the hidden qualities that make a woman unforgettable. If Carl Jung had one center message, it was this: individuation. This is the process of becoming your truest self. Not the mask you wear, not the role you've been told to play, but the unique, whole, grounded version of you. When a woman steps into individuation, something incredible happens. She no longer feels the need to copy others or chase trends just to belong. She isn't bending herself into shapes to please everyone. Instead, she radiates her own energy, calm, confident, unmistakably hers. And people notice. In fact, they can't help but notice. Think of a woman who doesn't chase approval, yet somehow admiration follows her everywhere. She doesn't need to say, "Look at me." People just do. Why? Because she's authentic. She's not trying to perform a role. She's living her truth. That's what makes her magnetic. Individuation is about stepping out of the box that society, family, or even past relationships have put you in, and asking, who am I really? What do I value? What gives my life meaning beyond being liked, loved, or chosen? Here's a shift. The woman who knows herself deeply creates a presence that feels unshakable. She's not blown around by every opinion or every rejection. She's anchored. And that stability makes people feel safe around her. Trust naturally grows. Respect naturally comes. So if you've ever wondered, why do some women seem effortlessly attractive even without trying? This is the reason. They're individuated. They've stopped chasing external validation and started living from inner clarity. And the beautiful part is, you can begin today. Start small. Ask yourself what really matters to you. Explore what brings you alive beyond your roles and your relationships. Because when you do, your presence shifts. You stop blending in. You stop performing. You start radiating. If you're beginning to feel inspired, subscribe right now, because we're only halfway through. And the next shift may be the most powerful of all. Jung once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." That line alone explains why some women feel magnetic without saying a word. It's not their beauty. It's not their charm. It's the way they've carried pain and turned it into depth. We're drawn to people who have suffered yet somehow didn't let suffering break them. Instead, they transform it. A woman who has been heartbroken but chose compassion over bitterness, discernment over fear, and wisdom over walls. That's the kind of woman others lean toward. Because she's real, she's been through fire, and she carries the warmth of survival in her presence. Think of someone you know who went through deep heartbreak, maybe even betrayal. At first, the wound hurt so much it felt unbearable. But over time, instead of becoming hardened, she softened. Instead of shutting down, she opened her eyes wider. She didn't lose herself in pain. She grew more compassionate, more discerning, more resilient. People sense that, and they're drawn to it. The truth is wounds shape us, but it's what we do with them that determines our magnetism. Some hide their pain, pretending everything's fine. Others let pain define them, carrying bitterness wherever they go. But the women who become unforgettable, they're the ones who turn wounds into wisdom. Here's the practical shift. Reframe your wounds as teachers, not life sentences. Ask yourself, what did this heartbreak teach me about love? What did this rejection teach me about self-worth? What did this loss reveal about what I truly value? When you shift from why did this happen to me to what can this teach me, you unlock one of the deepest forms of attraction there is, emotional depth. People feel safe around you because you've been there. You've suffered, and you survived with grace. If this is connecting with you, subscribe right now, because the next shifts will show you how to turn not just your wounds, but your entire inner world into the source of a magnetic presence that lasts a lifetime. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's the way you are. Presence is magnetic. We've all felt it. Someone walks into a room, and suddenly the atmosphere shifts. People glance up, conversations pause, and without knowing why, everyone feels their energy. It's not about being the loudest, the flashiest, or even the most beautiful. It's something deeper. Carl Jung often spoke of the collective unconscious, the idea that we're connected on levels beyond words. People don't just hear you, they feel you. And that's why presence matters. A magnetic woman carries calmness, awareness, and authenticity in her body, her eyes, her movements. She doesn't need to demand attention. Her energy does it for her. Think about the last time you met someone who seemed completely grounded. Maybe she didn't even say much, but her presence made you feel safe. That's power. It's not forceful, it's not manipulative, it's alignment. When your inner world is steady, your outer energy naturally radiates calm strength. So how do you cultivate this presence? It's simpler than you think. Slow down. Practice mindfulness. Be here, not lost in the next thing. Stand tall. Your posture communicates before your words do. Look people in the eyes, not to intimidate, but to truly see them. Presence is attention, and attention is love. And here's a secret. People are starving for presence in a distracted world. If you can give it, you instantly become unforgettable. If you want to keep exploring how to embody this kind of magnetic energy, make sure you subscribe now, because the last shift ties everything together in the most powerful way. Carl Jung believed that a life without meaning leads to emptiness, and that emptiness often leaks into our relationships. Think about it. When your sense of identity depends only on being wanted, being chosen, or being admired, you're always at risk of losing yourself. But when you live with meaning, you radiate something unshakable. A woman who knows her purpose doesn't chase. She attracts. She doesn't need to prove her worth. It shines through in the way she lives. And here's the fascinating thing. Purpose looks different for everyone. For one woman, it might be art. For another, it's teaching or service or nurturing love in her family. The point isn't what the purpose is. It's that it's lived. Have you ever been around someone who lights up when they talk about what they love? Their whole face changes, their energy lifts, and you can't help but be inspired. That's the kind of magnetism Jung was pointing to. People are drawn not just to the woman, but to the fire inside her. And no, it's not about being needed. It's about living with direction. A woman who knows her why becomes a woman others want to walk beside. Here's your takeaway. Ask yourself what lights me up. What work, practice, or passion gives my life texture and meaning? When you follow that thread, you stop waiting for others to validate you. Your purpose becomes your magnet. And that's the final secret. You don't become the woman everyone wants by trying to please them. You become her by living with depth, presence, and meaning. If this resonated with you, don't leave without subscribing. Because what we explore here isn't just psychology. It's the roadmap to becoming your fullest, most magnetic self. Here's what I want you to remember. Every single woman has the ability to embody this kind of magnetism. It's not reserved for the lucky few. And it has nothing to do with being perfect. It's about becoming aware. It's about integrating all the parts of yourself, light and shadow, strength and softness, and allowing them to work together instead of against each other. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that's what this is really about. When you do the inner work, when you stop running from your wounds and start learning from them, when you find your purpose and live it, you stop being the woman who tries to be wanted, and you become the woman who doesn't have to try at all. So here's the truth. You don't need to be the woman everyone wants. You need to be the woman who is whole, authentic, and alive in her own skin. That's the kind of woman who changes lives simply by existing. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe. We dive deep into Jung's wisdom psychology and the truths that help you live not just more authentically, but more powerfully. Because the journey to becoming whole, that's the real secret.